Welcome to Review Every Ship by CitizenCon 2024. The point is to give an update on every ship since some haven't had a video made about them in years, and others, the information is simply too spread out to be helpful in making a decision. When we do a concept ship that isn't in-game, we'll theorycraft about what we think the final product will be, and we'll use educated guesses and the information available at the time of the review. We'll go in depth, but we won't repeat everything on the RSI website. We will link to sources and fix any errors either in the description or in the comments. And remember, digital ships aren't imaginary, digital ships are imagine-necessary. Before we start, let me remind everyone we are doing a ship giveaway, a Drake Cutter and Dragonfly for a new account, and a Drake Cutlass Black for everyone else. To enter to win, you must be subscribed, you must either like or dislike a video, and you must have commented on at least one video by the draw date. The winner will be drawn randomly on February 29, 2024, even if you're only subscribing to enter the contest. That's okay too. Welcome to the channel. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. We have arrived at the Consolidated Outland manufacturer, and next is the Consolidated Outland Mustang series and its 5 variants. We have the Mustang Alpha, $30 standalone, $30 war bond, was the same at concept, cost about $251K in game. The Mustang Beta, 40 standalone, 40 war bond, was the same at concept, cost about $404K in game. The Mustang Gamma, 55 standalone, 55 war bond, was the same at concept, cost about $627K in game. The Mustang Delta, 65 standalone, 65 war bond, was the same at concept, cost about $763K in game. The Mustang Omega, 55 standalone, 55 war bond, was the same at concept. The ship is not available for purchase at any in-game store or as a pledge. Specifically, the Omega variant is one of the rarest ships in the game, as it was only received through a limited AMD promotion that has since ended. The Mustang series is always available to purchase except for that Omega variant, of course. The RIP price generally for all of these is anywhere from $13,000 to $47,000, but I've seen it change a few times, so just know that it's in that range. For the sake of clarity, I will call each of these by their unique names, so I'll list them as Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Omega. Inspired by Consolidated Outland's CEO, Silas Corner, their cutting-edge vision, the Mustang Alpha is a sleek, stylish spacecraft that uses ultralight alloys to push power ratios to the limit, albeit sometimes unsafely. And now with the optional cargo carrier, you can have the Alpha's advantages without sacrificing carrying capacity. The Mustang Beta, with its unprecedented range, is made for long-duration flights. The factory-standard Tarsus Leaper jump engine enables the Beta to travel to the galaxy's farthest systems with ease, while the ship's unique COM-4T living quarters will make the journey feel like you never left home. Consolidated Outland's design and engineering team have managed to tweak and refine the Mustang into an admirable racer. The end result? The Mustang Gamma has smooth acceleration and power on demand thanks to an innovative package featuring 3 powerful Magma Jet engines for maximum thrust. While it may not be able to go toe-to-toe with some of the military-specific ships, by reinforcing the Mustang's already strong hull construction with Consolidated Outland's own line of cavalry-class mass reduction armor, the Delta has a reduced cross-sectional signature that evens the playing field. Consolidated Outland teamed up with custom tuning company Accelerated Mass Design to create a limited edition racer that features a ramped up fuel intake for faster recycling of the ship's already impressive boost system. To cap off that collaboration, AMD enlisted resident underground artist Sector 8 to design the dynamic paint job. The fighter for the thrifty pilot, unless you like the Omega.
My father always knew what everything costs.
That's $1.09 in the trash. That's $2 on fire. That's 49 cents of spilt milk dripping all over my table. Somebody gonna drink this milk.
For measurements, the Mustangs are all the same: 21.5 length, beam 18 meters, height 9 meters. For crew, the Mustang series all have the same: 1 minimum, 1 maximum. The Alpha carries 4 SCU, the rest of the Mustang carry 0 SCU. The Alpha has a top SCM speed of 194 and max speed of 1160, which is above average overall as of patch 3.22.1 and above average for the small class of ships. For maneuverability, it is more of the same. It's way above average ship overall as of 3.22.1, and as far as the small class of ships, it's also way above average, only outclassed by the Consolidated, the Gladius, and Blade, unless you drop down to the snub class. The Beta has a top SCM speed of 188 and max speed of 1216, and it's pretty much the same, way above average in pretty much every stat. The Delta has a top SCM speed of 184 and max speed of 1227. Same thing, way above average, only outclassed by the Consolidated, Gladius, and Blade. The Gamma and Omega have a top SCM speed of 242 and max speed of 1341, which is, again, way above average, really only outclassed by the Consolidated, Gladius, and Blade. I keep saying the Consolidated, Gladius, and Blade because I need you to understand that those ships are faster, but they also, each one of them, cost significantly more than this ship. For weapons, the Mustang Alpha and Beta both have a size 3 nose turret weapon holding a size 2 dual laser cannon, no missiles, and no turrets. The Mustang Delta adds 2 size 2 weapon hard points. The Mustang Gamma and Omega drop everything and add a fuel scoop and 2 size 1 weapon hard points. For ship parts, all the Mustangs have the same parts: 1 small radar, 1 small computer, 1 small power plant, 2 small coolers, 2 small shield generators, 2 small fuel intakes, 2 small fuel tanks, a small quantum drive, a small jump module, and a small quantum fuel tank. Uniquely, the Omega adds an extra fuel intake for a total of 3 fuel intakes. That's the one that you'll see on the screen. The hull HP for the entire Mustang series is 8,431, which is way below average overall and way below average for the small class, being in the bottom 10 of all small ships. The shields on the Alpha and Beta are the Ink Civilian Grade D shields, which are bubble type shields. The shield pool is about 2,700 and it regens at about 249 HP per second. The shields on the Delta are the Secure Hide Military Grade D shields with the same shield pool and regen rate. The shields on the Gamma and Omega are the Falco Competition Grade D shields with the same shield pool and regen rate. For quantum capability, the entire Mustang series comes with the Rush Civilian Grade D quantum drives. It travels 20 million miles in about 4 minutes and has a range of 54.6 million. That means it can travel from Crusader to Hurston, but not from Microtech to ArcCorp, without swapping out the drive. The Mustangs are meant to go moon to planet or planet to moon mostly, not really a traveling ship from planet to planet unless you gear it specifically for that purpose. Some special features for these ships are basically choosing what you want in the game. The Alpha has the 4 SCU, the Beta has the living quarters with the bed, bathroom, and sink. The Delta is the combat variant with extra guns and missiles. The Gamma and Omega are both the racers, which are faster, and the Omega adds an extra fuel intake if that matters to you. Now it's time to rate this ship. A rating I rate from 1 to 10. My 1 is only by if you have a unique reason that is specific to you or because you like the looks of the ship. My 10 is if you have the money, the ship is almost guaranteed to be useful to you in the game. A 1 doesn't mean the ship is useless or ugly, and a 10 doesn't mean that the ship is perfect. Just remember, this is just our rating. Please give us yours in the comments down below, and you might get a response, or maybe you won't, but if a comment happens in the woods and there is nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? My rating for this ship is, of course, going to be handed out based on which variant we're looking at. The Alpha is a 5. The Beta is a 4. The Delta is a 4. The Gamma is a 3. And the Omega is a 3. Let's start with what I like about these ships. Cheap, 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 cheap. I know I sound like a bird, but that is a major selling point for pretty much all of these ships, except for the Omega, which at the time of recording, I can only find on the gray market at a cost of no less than $500 US for a tiny ship that cost $55 when it was released. So yeah, no, that's a no. Let's start with the Alpha. To me, the best of the bunch because you can run just a few cargo missions and make enough money to upgrade, which is the entire point of a starter ship. Now, this may be changing in 3.23 because most of the ships are going to get an increase, but I have seen a few ships actually get a decrease. So we'll see how much everything actually costs when 3.23 arrives. The Beta to me is decent, but for $10, it's a little bit more expensive than the Alpha, which I don't quite understand because why would I pay more for living quarters than I do for the SCU storage? Those are about the same value if you ask me. Every dollar counts at the starter ship level. The Delta would be a 5 except for the fact that the Avenger Titan exists and it's $5 less. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Avenger Titan is just overall better than that. The Gamma is like a starter racer, but oddly enough, I don't suggest anybody actually buy a starter racer at all, unless it's a vehicle or a snub. Overall, the maneuverability is good for a small ship and compared to most ships, but compared to other racers, the Gamma is slow and less maneuverable. Not to mention, in comparison, it also has poor acceleration, specifically in comparison to other racers. I haven't flown the Omega because of its insane rarity, but I haven't heard much different from the people who own it as far as its racing capability. Now, we are going to see some changes when master modes come online, so you can kind of take all of this with a grain of salt, but right now the M50, 350R and Razor are where it's at for racing as of 3.22.1. So we'll see what happens in April, and we'll see if we have to revisit this and see if the racing scene changes just a little bit. So the issues are neither the Alpha or Beta carries enough cargo. The Alpha is cheap though, so it at least makes up for it. The Gamma doesn't handle as you would think a racing ship should. It needs to pick a lane, either speed, maneuverability, or acceleration. Or if you're gonna be a jack of all trades, you gotta get better at all three. So how would I fix these ships? Give the Alpha the 2 extra SCU that it was supposed to have, give the Beta 2 SCU of cargo capacity overall, or at least a full kitchen, or drop the price at least $5, give the Gamma and Omega better racing stats, or lower prices. So who are these ships for? The Alpha is for the true starter, the person who wants to earn it all in game and gets to say they started from the bottom, now we're here. But really, that's the Aurora MR, but we won't mince hairs here because we know the Alpha is there too. If you want to do the started from the bottom, now we're here, and when you get the 890 jump, I understand if you got the Alpha. The Beta is for people who want to do box missions but aren't fond of the Aurora series, and for people who don't mind swapping the Quantum Drive for a longer range model to use it as a planet-to-planet ship to get you to other ships. The Delta is for people who need more guns and less livability than the Avenger Titan and can't spare the extra $10 to get the massively better Anvil Arrow. The Gamma and Omega are for people who want a fast ship but not necessarily for racing. I would say these are good point A to point B ships. I imagine using the Alpha when I have a time-sensitive cargo mission and there's only 2 or 3 boxes. The Beta after swapping out for a long-range Quantum Drive for going from planet to planet at a very low cost. The Delta for low-level combat, but it's basically a stop on an upgrade path. And the Gamma and Omega for traveling from planet to moon, or around a planet or moon to do time-sensitive box missions, assuming that I can put a box in my lap. Well, I know you're here for R rating, but if you really want a ship, go buy it. We won't stop you. Or even better, all ships can be earned in-game once the game releases, and some you can purchase in-game right now. These are just R ratings, but when you spend, it's your money. My opinion, the Alpha is a decent starter ship, so if you get it as your starter ship, then money well spent. But all the others, even though they are cheap, are earning game for me because they just don't do enough to justify that price outside the game. All right, that is it for this one. Thanks for spending your time with us. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.